Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hangout. I am your host, Allison B., the Gentle Nerd, at VA Gentle Nerd on Twitter. Joining me tonight is the ever wonderful, ever fabulous, done with her graduate fieldwork, Karen D.
Hello. So happy, so relieved.
Unfortunately, the mom who reads comics has to start a new school year tomorrow, so she's not with us tonight. But we do have a very special guest. She's here to promote the new Kickstarter, Strange Wit, the fabulous Katy Rex.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us.
I love your hair, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Add that in before we get any further.
I retouched it yesterday, and then I went to my mom's today, and she was like, "Didn't you say you were going to touch up your roots?" I was like, "Thanks, Mom. That's nice."
That's what moms are for.
So if, unfortunately we couldn't get her lower third to work, but you have probably seen her around Twitter at the Katy Rex, and she and many others have been promoting the Strange Wit Kickstarter. I'm going to do a quick screen share of the Strange Wit page, if I can.
I got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay. So why don't you start off by telling us about Strange Wit? What's the story? How did it come about? Who are you working with?
Yeah, sure. So this is half biography, half literary adaptation, centering around the author Jane Bowles, who is this incredibly brilliant but very much unknown historical figure. She was part of the lesbian bar scene in the 1920s. I don't know if you're familiar with that. But she
rolled with like Gertrude Stein, right?
Actually, her husband did. She didn't. Which is another cool thing about her is that she's this weird kind of feminist where she was really invested in making things better for her, but she did not spend very much time giving any shits about any other women. In terms of politics, she gave a lot of shits about women in terms of like having sex with them. Oh.
She sounds very F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Oh, totally. And she totally would have pulled a Zelda too and had her partner committed if she could have. I don't know if that's true. Maybe. Paul stole her work though, so there's a little Scott and Zelda for you there too.
So why did you decide to write a story about Jane Bowles?
Because she's just fascinating. She has this incredible life, and she has all these. You need to go away. I'm sorry. Hi. Sorry about that. She had all these famous friends. She was friends with Truman Capote and Tennessee Williams and Gore Vidal, and well, actually Gore Vidal kind of hated her, but she wanted to be friends with him. Yeah.
I feel like that's a story of a lot of stories go, well, actually Gore Vidal hated this person, but they wanted Gore Vidal to love them.
Right. She thought he was cool because, he's cool, but he thought that she was kind of a crazy flake, I guess because she's a crazy flake. They were both right, so...
Yeah, so how did you find out so much about her? Was it just something that really, something struck a chord in you, or?
I guess I started learning about her in like 2005, 2006. I was working in this really awful call center, and I spent most of my time when I was there just like fucking around on the internet because I'm a bad person, and they totally paid me for it. And at some point, I was really invested in being part of the queer activism online thing, because I'm queer. and I found this list of underrated, underrepresented queer artists, and she seemed really cool, and I bought her book, and it turns out there's actually only one biography of her that exists by Millicent Dillon. So finding out all the stuff about her has been mostly reading biographies of her friends and hoping for tangents.
So a lot of extensive work, it sounds like.
Yeah. She's a conundrum. It's hard to access all of her.
So are you hoping then that strange wit sort of fills in what you feel are gaps in her story? Like, how much of this is going to be straight biography and how much of this is going to be like imagined tales?
I am not making up anything. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm making up dialogue, but I'm not making up incidents. I'm trying really hard to just, because there are, in her straight biography, it, for instance, never mentions that she had an affair with this woman named Marty Mann, who is one of the earliest members of AA, and she actually is the one who pioneered the alcoholism is a disease concept. That never comes into her biography. That's something that I had to read elsewhere. But it'll be in my book. And so will a ton of other things that I've been finding here and there.
Okay.
She also briefly lived, this book is called February House. She lived in this brownstone in New York with, God, who all? Just so many people. Carson McCullers, W.H. Auden, and she actually occupied the rooms that had previously belonged to Gypsy Rose Lee, who you may know as like the world's most famous burlesque performer ever. So she just like moved into her rooms, and when Gypsy was living there actually is when she wrote The G-String Murders, which is her book about strippers.
So why do you think she was friends with so many well-known people?
Well, because as much as she was a crazy, flaky person, she's amazing. There's something really appealing about her, you know?
Mm-hmm. So she was just someone who could make friends with anyone and was very...
Or was it like we all know the same people and we're part of the same crew? Like you were saying, her husband rolled with Gertrude Stein. So he would arrive at the party, and Hemingway would be there, and F. Scott would be there, and Zelda would be there, and he would also bring his wife, and so she'd just end up.
It was a little like that, yeah. She was really in the group before he was, and they liked her better. Most of them, well, because Paul didn't drink, and when you go to a party with Hemingway and F. Scott Fitzgerald, you need to have like a sidecar, right? At least one.
I mean, if you're Hemingway, you need to have your own committed bottle of whiskey.
Right. Oh, I'm just saying partying with him. I'm not at his level. Or Jane was a little bit at his level. That's a little why she died of alcohol poisoning.
Mm.
Spoiler,
How old was she?
End of my book.
Yeah. How old was she when she died?
She was in her 50s.
Okay.
It was more complicated than just I'm a drunk and I died of alcohol poisoning. There was also, she was mixing booze with her meds, but her doctor didn't even know not to tell her not to because that was not knowledge they had medically at the time.
Mm.
So she wasn't hypothetically doing anything she knew was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's how it ends. So nice, happy ending.
Yeah. Well, she had a stroke before she died, so there's like a few years in that last chapter that you'll really enjoy reading of how sad she is when she's trying to recover from her stroke and go back to writing.
Mm-hmm.
Very uplifting. You're doing something interesting with your creative team. You've got a team of a bunch of artists.
So many people.
This is a graphic novel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a team of artists, but you're doing consistent coloring and lettering.
Yep.
Across the whole book.
Yep, that's Kelly Fitzgerald and Taylor Esposito.
We love Kelly and Taylor. We've had Taylor on the show. Kelly we haven't, but I've talked to her about getting her on.
I feel like, did I say Fitzgerald? Because I might have said Fitzgerald.
You did.
Okay, I meant Fitzpatrick. I just,
We were thinking about F. Scott and Zelda.
Great. Yep. Well, she knows who I meant.
But Kelly is great. We met Kelly in Seattle, and she's a hell of a lot of fun. So Kelly is going to do the colors across the book. Taylor's going to do the lettering. Now, you have all of these artists listed. Can you go through who some of those people are? And Karen is screen sharing a large list of some of the people who are going to be working with you.
Totally. Yeah. So the main biography. Excuse me. That was cute. The main biography is with art from Tyler Jenkins, who you may know from like Peter Panzerfaust and Neverboy. But then in between each of the 10 chapters, there's going to be a short story written by Jane, adapted by me, with a different guest artist. So in chapter 1, the story is called A Stick of Green Candy, and it features art from June Vigance. And I've just, let's see who else is. Chapter 2 is Josh Hickson is doing A Quarreling Pair. I'm really excited to have Ryan Kelly doing Plain Pleasures. Inez Estrada, who does all sorts of really cool, actually I just met her in an indie show in Minneapolis. She does all sorts of really cool books out of Mexico City, and she's going to be doing A Guatemalan Idol. Sean Von Gorman, Adam Gorham, which I always put together in my head because of their last names, even though I don't know if they may have never even met each other. That makes it better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beatrice Pencosesci is this really cool artist from Italy who's publishing work in France right now. As far as I know, this is her first thing in the US, which is really cool. Dom Sol in New York. Anne Maxon, who you may have seen as a pinup artist. This will be one of the first sequential things that she's done, which is really cool. And Betsy Peterschmidt is really, her story that she's doing, Camp Cataract, is a really surreal story. And if you've read Betsy Peterschmidt's online comic, Boys with Wings, you can see how her style might be really well suited to something that's just a little less based in reality,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's everybody.
And you have Marguerite Savage doing the Kickstarter exclusive cover.
Yeah, it's
as
really
well as one of your reward levels.
Yeah, well, those are gone, I think. I'm like, yeah, those are definitely gone. You can no longer.
I know, because I got one of them.
Well, you got. And actually, today the last Sean Von Gorman commission sold out, but we still have some from June Vigance, and we will soon be adding a reward. Actually, maybe by the time you repost this, I don't know when that's happening, but there will be Tyler Jenkins commissions coming up.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I was going to ask this question anyway, but we've got one of our longtime fans, our brother, the lovely Mike Garvey, actually has sent in a question, lines up with what I wanted to ask you. Can you clarify regarding like how this is going to come out? Like, is there going to be one Kickstarter for each of the chapters? Because you're starting, like, the goal now is $12,000, which is kind of a lot.
It is
a single issue. So how is this going to work? Is there ever going to be like a collection of the 10? Like are you going to do what is the plan?
So the plan is to kickstart chapter 1 as a first issue and sort of prove that this kind of book is of interest to the comics community, to the industry. And then I think we're going to reevaluate once we see how people are reacting, but ultimately I would like to just have it all collected in a single graphic novel. So that this one issue will never be printed again, will never be republished. It's a one-time only thing.
So you don't plan to publish single issues of every issue?
I would be open to it, but no, that's not not what I would like to see happen.
So is that what part of this 12K is going towards? Like the single issue, like the production of the single issue, and then like towards the design and production of the graphic novel?
Yeah.
Obviously, you have a lot of artists to pay, but they're not all in this first issue.
Right. I have 16 people on the team. And so if I can get them paid, we can produce the full graphic novel.
Okay. That actually sounds really awesome. So this would be like a preview, and then it'd be like, okay, however this does, like, are you going to create the graphic novel regardless of what happens with the single issue? Like,
what do you mean? If the Kickstarter fails, I don't know if I can.
Okay.
I think I'm still going to try because I feel like that would be really important to me. But
it seems like you spent like 10 years learning about this one.
A few, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the chapter 1, the first issue, is really a preview. But I'm trying to make it be its own thing as well, so that nobody feels like, well, I'm giving $15 to produce a graphic novel that I'm not actually purchasing. So it is like 28 pages long. It has some bonuses in it that will not be reprinted in the graphic novel, including an intro from Lauren Sporer, who runs the Two Serious Ladies online magazine. And Two Serious Ladies is the name of Jane's novel. So it's sort of, she runs a literary magazine as an homage to Jane, and she wrote the intro, and it's really cool.
Very cool.
I think I rambled, sorry.
No, you're so here, let me screenshot the actual Kickstarter as well. Just so it's familiar. And then you click back this project.
So to clarify, like, if this gets funded, like, you're doing the full graphic novel, right?
Yeah. If this gets funded, there will be no additional Kickstarters. This graphic novel will definitely be happening.
And are backers going to be able to automatically have access to that graphic novel whenever it's done, like a year from now or whatever? Or like,
I will be sending out an email to all of the backers with a coupon code to get the full, because it's 250 pages.
Ow, that's a big sucker.
It is. It's a big, fat, thick, sexy book. But there will be a coupon code for backers to purchase the graphic novel for a significant discount.
So $15 is the minimum for getting a print copy, and $8 gets you the digital. And then as you go up, you get a lot of other cool things.
I have a Comicosity exclusive reward that I would love to talk about.
That's right, you do.
I do. The Marguerite Sauvage print, that guy, I'm offering specifically only to people who watched this Hangout. All you have to do is, when you back the project, you put in code Comicosity or write Comicosity to me somewhere. And if you've already pledged and you're watching this, and yes, I am talking to Mike Garvey on this one, you can just let me know, and I will send you the postcard that is the Comicosity exclusive with your backer reward.
Do Comicosity hosts get backer rewards?
I know at least one Comicosity host is getting a backer reward. But yes, you guys, I will definitely send that too. And I'm still working on printing, but I'm really hoping to get that postcard screen printed and all like fancy and sexy.
Cool. That's exciting.
Yay. I'm literally backing it right now because I never have my wallet with me to put in the credit card information.
Yeah, Kickstarter has stored my credit card information, and that is a problem.
Yeah, and I don't know why, because I thought mine was saved, and so when I went on a few days ago and it wasn't, it was just like, oh, well, I don't feel like going all the way upstairs to get my card because I'm lazy.
Fair.
But,
So
yeah.
what reward are you picking? Can I ask that? Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome. I'm picking the $15 one to have the print copy.
Nice.
Because I have like an entire pile full of like Kickstarter rewards with all the extra things, and I'm kind of drowning in it. So yeah, I definitely want the print though. Even though I mostly read digital books now, just because I don't have the space anymore and I just lose them. But I do want the print.
Awesome. I will say to anybody considering backing for the digital, I will totally still send you the postcard. That is not a problem.
Okay, so where can people find the link for this? We'll post it as well, but
We've tweeted it out from the Hangout account. It's Kickstarter/project/Katy Rex/ and then there's a bunch of hyphens in between all of this strange wit and original graphic novel about Jane B.
I really like that it cut off right at the B. I really like it. I'm not even. That's
it's
not
like about someone named Jane.
My girl Jane B. I don't know.
That's her rap name.
I'm maybe not cool enough to say that.
Rap name Jane B.
Yeah, totally. Man, her rap game would be so surreal. She would be really good at it.
She'd be full of absinthe, probably.
Yeah.
And disillusionment with the American dream, because that's what all 1920s authors write about.
Right. Well,
so this was my 10th project back.
I never got any kind of like special thing for that, and I know I've backed 10 projects.
You've definitely done more than 10 for sure.
I'm cutting back a lot because I've been burned a lot recently, which is why honestly I was asking so much about like the funding. Is like I know a lot of people like it's very important for people to kind of feel good about where they're putting their money, and it's it's valuable, I think, when there's like a transparency to the process and all that. Like,
totally.
There's too many Kickstarters that end up, obviously if it doesn't get funded, it doesn't make a difference to anyone who backed. But if it gets funded and then, a year goes by, 2 years, no updates, no rewards, like that's.
Well, this will definitely have the rewards. And actually the reason that I didn't put the graphic novel on the rewards is because I wasn't sure that I would be able to use this budget to also cover printing costs. So the book is definitely happening, but I may need to do some on-spec printing for that.
Might it end up being is like doing digital an option for the full product?
It is, and I'm actually also hoping eventually to maybe shop around the full project to a publisher.
Okay.
That's like an eventuality, though. I'm not there yet.
Okay. Well, I know some of the stuff that we talked about tonight is not actually on your Kickstarter description yet. So that's a Comicosity exclusive first here, kids. Yay.
Yeah.
So get excited. So... Wow, I'm kind of jazzed for this because I love that era of American history, mostly because it's full of like broken, boozed out people who like somehow created these beautiful, like honest, painful stories. But in reading them, you're like, oh, you destroyed your own life while you were doing this. So like,
Jane is actually like the pinnacle of that. Like, she wrote the one book. Like, she has written one book. I think she's a great author, but there's just the one. And she needed to know every detail of everything that went into every one of her stories. So, like, if she was writing a story about a couple that's walking down the street past a movie theater to go to a diner, she needs to know, like, the specifications for that theater and its history and its yearly income and its floor layouts, because otherwise they can't walk past that theater. She just went way deep into she was a crazy person.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband, Paul, and actually they both had affairs with people of the same gender, which is kind of an interesting marital dynamic. And he kept telling her things like, you should just get all your thoughts out, write it all down, and then cut back the fat. She's like, no, I can't write it down until I know it.
Mm-hmm.
So she's fascinating.
Very, very interesting. I'm excited to learn more about her.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited that anybody could care about her as much as I do, because it's been a very lonely obsession.
I bet. I feel like you might be the person who knows the most about her at this point in time.
Well, actually, her biographer's not dead.
Oh, well.
As soon as that woman dies, then I will be the probably person who knows the most, maybe.
Have you, like, contacted her and talked to her or anything and, like, told her about the project?
She doesn't have contact information readily available, so I put an inquiry through her agency, and I have no idea if it ever got to her. I hope
really
someday they send it to her, and she can, like, dork out about Jane with me. Her name is Millicent Dillon, which is a great name.
It's not a name you see a lot anymore.
It isn't. Well, and honestly, I think that it was a name that was more common when she was born.
Mm.
So, and that's why I can make horrible, horrible jokes about her dying, because she's old.
She is 90.
Yep, see, called it.
Yeah.
Old. She started writing her biography of Jane shortly after Jane's death. So.
Mm. Interesting.
Which, like, sucks. Wouldn't you be super mad if you started writing about somebody and you were like, damn, if I had done this 2 years earlier, I could have just asked them.
Mm. Would she have been agreeable to that, though?
Isn't that literally what happened with, like, it was either Ray Charles or a Johnny Cash biographer? Like,
Is it?
something happened with a biographer for one of the two of them, and then, like, because they were working on their biographies, and then the movies were getting made about them. Like, obviously, like, Ray and Walk the Line came out near to one another, and there was, like, a whole deal where it was like, oh, like, just missed it, like...
I didn't hear about that, but that sounds right.
With one of them, there was, like, a thing where the filmmakers went to biographers and were like, hey, we had a follow-up question about this thing, and then, like, boom, the subject of the movie died. Because both Ray Charles and Johnny Cash died in early 2000s, right? Like, Johnny Cash was definitely in 03. And I feel like Ray Charles was in 03 as well.
Maybe?
I just remember Johnny and June died close together, and it was around my birthday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Anyway, on that super up note,
Yeah.
time for us to talk about the comics that we enjoy the most this week, as well as our picks for the coming week. And I have kind of a mixed stack because I was traveling week before last and thus did not get my comics, and then I've been busy this week, so I read like 2 weeks of comics at once. So I'm going to let Karen kick us off, and then I'll just pick whatever she does.
Okay. Well, since I am newly free from my graduate fieldwork, I haven't read that much. But it's interesting when I don't have a ton of time to read which books I go for. Because I chose to read Archie, which I'm not a fan of the original Archie. Granted, I didn't really give it a try, but it was always like whenever I saw it, it was like, oh, it's just this redhead guy who's really clumsy and cool.
It all seemed very dated and not...
Yeah, not accessible at all.
Not
but I really
That's 100% what I thought being a teenager was going to be like when I was a kid. I definitely believe that Riverdale was like a realistic expectation for me.
I thought that being a teenager was going to be like Clarissa Explains It All.
Oh,
Cool
that
too.
one. Mm.
It was not like either of those things for me.
Mm-mm. Her little ice cream phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her best friend, a boy, coming up through her window via ladder.
Mm-hmm. As if that... Yeah. Everybody would have a best friend climbing up the ladder to get into their room.
The
and their
door's
parents
closed, mom and dad don't care.
Yep.
Everybody did in the 90s. That's what Dawson did too, right?
I don't know. I do know in Boy Meets World, Sean would like climb up the tree or something to
Hmm.
get to Corey's bedroom. Interesting. This is really.
Yeah, Dawson was always climbing in Joey's window.
Mm-hmm. Very
Sorry.
90s thing,
I guess so.
I guess.
Some
Yeah.
bad parenting, you guys. It's some bad parenting.
Hmm.
Mom would be like, take your ass around to the front door like a human.
But I kind of like how, and I have no idea the original Archie, like who Betty and Veronica, like what their personalities were like. But in this, Betty is kind of like a tomboy,
Mhm.
and Veronica is very, rich and put together and all of that stuff. So is that how the original is too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Betty's supposed to be the girl next door, and Veronica's supposed to be the high maintenance out of your league girl.
So yeah, I mean, I guess I hate saying this, but the New 52 got me into comics, and I guess this little reboot of Archie got me to read Archie too. But I love Fiona Staples' art. It makes, I don't know, this issue really went into how clumsy Archie is, and I found it to be very sweet and endearing as opposed to like annoying, like when I would read the little comic strips of Archie. So yeah, I'm loving it. It's really fun. It's just one of those, I didn't have a ton of time to read any comics this weekend because I like really just became free. But that was one that I wanted to go for because I knew it would be just like this lighthearted, fun read.
Very cool. I've had the same sort of thing where I got like a month behind, and when I was on all my travels, I was out in Seattle for work, and so I had 2 6-hour flights, and in that time was able to catch up on my comics, knowing that I was going to come home to a giant stack that I hadn't read yet, and then I was super busy all week because I'd just been gone for a week. So immediately got behind again, and when you're super behind, you sort of figure out what you prioritize, and for me, they've been, and I don't have the print copy with me right now, but Bombshells, like, the Bombshells book has been so amazing, and I know I talked about this on our last Hangout, but I love it. And then this week, what really hit me, and I'll include 2 from last week. Secret Love, which is a bunch of it's a Secret Wars grouping of short stories. There's and I always mispronounce his name, is it Michael or Michelle Biffy? The guy from Capra. Does a Karen Page Daredevil story, both writes and draws. Felipe Smith and Val Staples do a Kamala Khan, Robbie Reyes story. Jeremy Whitley and Guri Haru do a Misty Knight, Danny Rand story. And then the best story in the whole thing is Marguerite Bennett and Chris Anka doing Squirrel Girl Wins a Date with Thor, which is literally the name of the story. And it is the best story in the world because it involves this wonderful spread of a party that's got every couple you ever wanted. Like, look, Prodigy and Tommy are making out. And then there's Americate right there. And then you've got like an OT3 happening here with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and Danny. And you've got Hulkling and what's his why am I doing this? Someone help me. Billy and Teddy, damn it. Okay. And then I love over here on the side, you have Hawkeye and a mug of coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and way in the back there, you can see Steve and Tony. So Steve, Tony shippers, your love is real. And then I like Magneto carrying Charles.
I see that.
And then there's a little one of Captain Marvel and Spider-Woman getting down, which I don't ship it, but you know what? I wouldn't be opposed. So, yeah, Squirrel Girl has a wonderful, wonderful, lovely date with Thor. The other 2 for this week, Loki, Agent of Asgard, wrapped up by Al Ewing and Lee Garbett, and it was super emotional and amazing, and this entire book has been wonderful. It wasn't everything I wanted it to be. I was hoping they would do a little bit more to explore kind of the gender fluidity of Loki, and really all they did was have him like switch genders for a couple issues, and then there was like no romance or dating that happened at all. So it was just like, oh, I'm a chick today, whatever. Which I guess in itself is cool, but
Baby steps, I guess.
for what it was built up to be, like I remember I did an interview with Al Ewing when this book kicked off, and I had like it set me up with higher expectations. It's all been solid story, like especially if you've been reading about, if you're a long-term Marvel reader and you were like reading Journey into Mystery when Kieran Gillen was writing it, like the payoff is wonderful and beautiful, and it actually fits very nicely into like Secret Wars. Like this is your final page, just kind of like, would I lie to you? It's just very, there's a lot of emotion in it. So it was a very good run. They went 17 issues, very worthwhile. And then the Invader Zim comic, which I freaking adore. It's so funny. There's no reason to be reading this if you weren't watching the show. But maybe if you read like the first couple issues and you liked them, it would inspire you to go back and get the DVDs and watch the show and then read the issues again.
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix.
Is it? We own the DVDs, so
it was definitely on Netflix 2 years ago. My brother came to live with me, and that's all we did all summer. I haven't checked since then.
Allison, let's have an Invader Zim marathon, pretty please, because it's been a long time since I've watched any of them.
Scott's on a little bit of a delay, so I'm waiting to hear him scream, yes! From the basement.
But I feel like
it's not happening. Yeah.
It takes a little bit of time. The delay is actually longer than you would think. But I feel like reading the comic, if you don't know the cadence and the voice and all of that, you just don't get it.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It was I still can't believe they let Jonan Vasquez do a children's cartoon.
I am super glad. Can you hear my cat?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, because my husband just screamed from the basement. So.
Yeah, that's how long the...
All right.
And then from last week, Phonogram, #1. I actually just reread the first volume of Phonogram, thanks to Karen. And I haven't reread the second volume since I first read it, and I need to do that. But this one was like, I got all the music references a lot quicker. Because, surprise, I didn't grow up in Britain in the early to mid-90s, so I had like no frame of reference for Britpop, but I do know a lot about 80s music. So this was really good. It's also like really weird to do to have just finished Rue Britannia, a reread last week, and then to pick this up, and it's literally like the first thing Jamie McKelvey did and the most recent thing Jamie McKelvey did, and to see how his art has evolved and changed, and the character designs, and to see it in color. Matt Wilson does a great job. Also, Clayton Coles. That's what he told us, right?
Coles.
Is it?
Coles.
Clayton Cowles. I need to.
Clayton has a story back here that he drew that features bald David Cole, and I love it. And this is something you only get the B-sides in the single issues. The B-sides are not in the trades, so I actually never saw like the B-sides for Rue Britannia or the Singles Club. So that is your incentive to get the book. And then, as always, they include a glossary for references that you may not get, and that's fine. That means that even if you aren't hyper plugged into the music scene, you can get it. So, yeah, those are my picks. Oh, and special shout out, if Jessica were here, she would pick this one, obviously. She's been talking
How are you
about
saying it? Are you saying welcome back, or are you saying we come back?
In my head, it's like, welcome back? I guess it's welcome back. And also we come back.
When they've been tweeting about it, the L has been in parentheses. And now
in the title, they just make the L pink.
Oh, pink, okay.
So, but yeah, Chris Sabella's newest work with Jonathan Sawyer, colors by Carlos Zamudio, who also did the colors on Cullen Bunn's excellent digital horror book, The Remains. Um, so that's exciting. But so this is for Jessica. She would want us to hype this. And also we like to hype Chris. We're going to have Chris Sabella on the show next week when we talk about this. So advanced homework.
I'm pretty excited to watch that because he's so talented.
He is. So, Katie, I know you've been working on the Kickstarter, but what have you been enjoying lately?
And it doesn't have to be just from this past week. It could be just in general.
Yes.
Well, I did read the new Rat Queens, which was great.
You are a very big Rat Queens fan.
I am.
As I remember.
See?
Yeah.
Ready? Here we go. Oh, there it is. There it is.
What? Look at that.
So pretty.
My favorite detail about that tattoo is still Orc Dave's bluebirds.
Oh, yeah, totally. That's a bluebird wrapped in beard hair right there.
That's still my favorite detail about that tattoo.
I don't know if I ever told you, I just lent my trade to my tattoo artist. I was like, I would like it to be this size and about Rat Queens. Have fun. And he read it, and that was what he came up with.
Very cool.
So cool. Now I kind of want to give my tattoo artist bitch Planet and see what happens.
Ooh, you know she would love that too.
You need to wait until it's a trade, though.
No, I'm just gonna give her like issue 1.
Okay.
Or I'll just give her issue 1 and 2.
Issue 1 is not. Issue 1 still has what's her name, the whiny white woman.
I still feel bad for her because it's like not.
It's not her fault.
She got fucked over.
Yeah. However, she's still totally a product of hegemony, so.
Like.
It sucks to be her, but she's not a great character for me to be reading about personally.
Like, she got done so wrong. Like.
Yeah, totally.
Like, fuck that shit.
I would still rather be reading about Kamau and Penny, though.
Well, yes. And maybe I can give her the first 3. Like.
Yeah, right.
I'm getting my INC. I have like a couple of designs ready, but now like that idea, like I wonder what Amy would come up with if she read Bitch Planet.
All right, I'm grabbing some of my books to show you guys. I went to this indie comics festival in Minnesota. Actually, the first thing I should talk about is this book called Heathen because it was not part of the indie comics festival, and it is by I'm going to have to read her name so that I can say it right. Natasha Alterici, probably. And it's got a lot of really cool Norse mythology happening in it, and it's also, like, pretty gay, which, I don't know, have I mentioned that I really like it when it's gay? There's a really cool splash that I want to try and show if I can.
Is it both Norse and gay?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. There's this one part. You can find it. It's available online.
Heathen is the name of it?
It
I already
is.
love it based on the title.
I accidentally was looking through issue 2, and I knew that the splash I was looking for was in number 1. And there are only 2, and number 2 kind of ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger, and I'm really mad about it. Which I have already tweeted at the creator. She knows. All right,
How dare.
so this is the spread.
That is Norse and gay.
Yeah. So, and then from the festival, I got Collision Course, which is also a little bit gay, plays with a lot of anime tropes, and involves roller derby, which is really cool. Let's see, I got this. It's called Tits. And I'm sorry, it's gay again, because they're just all gay. It's very good. It's about mermaids, so apparently I just want all of the gay things in every possible mythology.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's a good thing that most major mythologies are hella gay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It works. I mean, we kind of like washed that off when we were trying to learn about it in school. But
oh, we didn't. I was like a classics kid from like Latin 1 in Catholic school from a nun. She was like, now, first of all, what you need to know.
that's awesome. I got in
I
trouble
remember the
because
first
I
time.
went on. Hmm?
I just remember the first time reading the Iliad. I'm like, oh, this whole book is about how Achilles is really sad that his boyfriend Patroclus died.
Yeah,
Like,
I yeah, I Greek myths we learned
oh,
about in fourth grade, and they were completely like washed of all perversity. And then I wanted to know more because I was one of those kids that wanted to know more. And I went on Encarta Encyclopedia, and I came to school and I told all of the kids, "Oh my God, guess who was fucking who?" And I just like went on a list of all of the incest and all of the gay stuff, and my teachers were so pissed. And
see,
that's
we
the
didn't get
power
into
of
that until 8th grade with Edith Hamilton's mythology, so they just like laid it all out. They were just like, yeah, you're fine.
I don't know who thought that in fourth grade we should talk about Greek mythology.
Mythology generally, I mean, I feel, and maybe this is just because I went to a Catholic school, they weren't all about teaching us about the concept of other gods yet. Like,
Right.
we're still working on the one.
I was in an art school, but the sex stuff was still not okay.
Well,
They
you
didn't
can't.
want
That
to tell us
disqualifies like
straight
all of,
sex.
literally all of Greek myth, because Greek myth is Zeus, don't fuck it, I'm gonna fuck it.
Yeah. I'm going to turn into a swan, and then I'm going to fuck it. That was just the one time I think that he was a swan.
Yeah.
There were other animals as well. Oh, and I got my Sex Crimes cover, the Brian Lee O'Malley. Can I?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's a penis.
NSFW.
Yeah,
So
I got that one too.
Same.
I went and I got it from Level Up Games in Minnesota when I went in for a job interview, which, P.S. I got. I work at Level Up now. It's very exciting, and I'm a military, and it makes me feel cool. But I went and I picked it up from the thingy, the display, right before my interview because I knew I definitely needed to go home with it. And one of the guys that was interviewing me, the owners, was like, "Have you seen that cover yet? Do you know what that is?" And I was like, "Yeah, totally. I think it's hilarious." And he's like, "Yeah, but it's like a Koopa." And I'm like, it combines my two favorite things, Nintendo and penis. So I'm really glad I got that job.
That is lovely.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a choice I made.
So, I just realized I haven't even pulled up Previews World for Pickstone.
I have it up.
Okay, so you go first.
Since I've been in a dark hole for 12 weeks, literally, I wake up, well, I can say it in the past tense now. I woke up with the moon and I fell asleep with the sun because I would wake up at 4:30 and go to sleep at like 8. I was not aware that mind management is coming to an end.
Karen crisis.
I know. I mean, in a way, I'm kind of happy because I won't have to keep rereading all of the volumes whenever a new one comes out because I read it in trade. For me personally, I think it reads better in trade, but you get more out of it if you read the individual issues because you have more time to go through all of the mind fucking that's happening. But I'm gonna miss it. Yeah. And of course, I love everything by Matt Kent because Matt Kent. So I literally will go to his table and just buy whatever I don't have, and I have no clue what the book's about, but I know I'm gonna like it. So yeah, that I'm really
do that
You
for
subsidize his habit.
Mm-hmm.
So while we were talking, I was looking at Previews World to make sure I knew what was on my list. And just so you guys know, we have hit the halfway point on the Kickstarter during this episode.
Yay!
Woo! Good job, Hangout watchers.
I got an email about it, and it's very exciting.
Yay! Let me see what else.
I have it
Grayson?
up now too. Yeah, Grayson, I'm very excited about. That book is so fun. It so
is.
fucking fun. It's so beautiful, and it's just like, to me, it's like a logical thing of based on what they've done with the New 52 and with Dick Grayson. Like, I like seeing a grown-up version of Dick who like goes on to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I know that as a spy, you have to do things like that probably definitely compromise him, but it's clear that he still struggles with it, like,
Yeah.
the level of force he has to use, and...
Yeah. There was one page that was pretty much the most heartbreaking thing in the world. I'm trying to see if I can... I think I tweeted it out a while ago, so I don't know if I'll be able to find it. But basically when he's talking someone down who's pointing a gun. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I don't want to be, like, spoilery, but...
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I will be spoilery because I just found the image. Open image in new tab. Okay, and then spoilers if you aren't reading Grayson and you want to. I get it.
This is from the Steve Mooney issue, isn't it?
I get it. Guns make things go faster. But what's the damn rush?
Oh my god.
Ugh.
I'm gonna let my cat in. I'm not walking away, I promise.
Okay. You're good. We're a pet-friendly show. People's animals cameos all the time.
Definitely.
Wow.
Please introduce us to your cat. Please introduce us to your cat. We're a pet-friendly show. People's pets scratch the show all the time.
This is Uhura.
Oh.
He really likes to be a part of everything.
His name is what?
Uhura?
Uhura, like from Star Trek?
Oh, totally, yeah. Well, if you can see, can you let go of me? Do you want to let go of me?
Oh.
Her eye makeup looks just like Uhura's.
It does. She looks just like our family cat, Dixie. Oh.
Major difference, I'm going to guess, is that Uhura is a minx.
Minx kitties with their little nubby butt tails.
Yeah, she has no tail whatsoever.
What a sweet girl.
She's gorgeous.
She is. She just also really doesn't like being separated from me.
Yeah, that's okay. Actually, my dog is outside my door right now. I just heard him, like, on cue, I heard his collar.
Aww.
But that's because he was eating when we started. Otherwise, he would be sitting next to me. But
yeah, my dog's downstairs. Her name is Dax, Jadzia Dax.
Mm-hmm.
We're a Star Trek family.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Deep Space Nine name.
Okay, sorry, I totally went off with...
It's cool. Let's see, Prez is out next week, which I feel like is especially relevant now because if you're following politics at all, D's Nuts is a candidate for president. D's Nuts was polling at 9% in North Carolina, ahead of pretty much all of the major Republican Party candidates. Turns out D's Nuts is a 15-year-old sophomore from Iowa.
I've heard that was his legal name, though.
No, his name's Bradley something, and the FEC doesn't have any rules about this. Like, he filed to run for president, and he paid fees and filed paperwork, and he is basically trolling the FEC, which I, as a person who works and has worked in and around politics for 10 years, I find it fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. This is what the world deserves, but it also is very much like it's Prez in real life. Also excited about Sinestro, because I'm always excited about Sinestro. Sinestro is bae. The return of East of West after what feels like a really long hiatus.
Yeah. How long has it been?
I don't know. It feels like forever, but it was probably just like 2 months. Because they were on a hiatus before then. And then my girl Spider-Woman has a book out, Maboo. And then Sunstone Volume 3 is out. Speaking of gay, the lesbian bondage story that the world... It may not be the story the world deserves, but it's the one it needs right now.
It's a great book. It is so great. If you haven't read Sunstone, either.
Like, you don't even have to be into like erotica, right? Like,
no, it's just a really good story, and the art is gorgeous. And I'm sorry, I mean the BDS.
That's not my scene.
To its wonderfulness.
It's not my scene, but like the characters, like by volume 2, they're so quirky and endearing. You're just like you're more in it for their personalities. And then sometimes it happens to involve leg spreaders and ball gags, and you're just like, oh, that's so funny that they got stuck in the harness. Like,
you should have heard me trying to explain to my boyfriend that he needs to read this. Like, about 2 lesbians, and it's like BDSM, and they meet on the internet, and he's just like, what? I'm like, just read it. Just.
If that description doesn't sell it, I don't know what's going to.
Right. It was just a little confusing because when I really like something, as people know, I can't words. So I wasn't able to give it justice when I was trying to sell it.
Your enthusiasm for me is usually the thing that gets me. Like, if I buy a book on your recommendation, it's because you hit your enthusiasm level. You're like, just
do it. I can't tell you why.
I can't, just. And I'm like, all right, obviously.
Yeah. Sunstone is one of those.
Scott, by the way, wants to correct, I guess, earlier you may have said Koopa instead of Goomba.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, I did.
I thought about that.
And Scott is really, like,
he is so right. That's
he's
my
looking
bad.
out. He's like, it's a Goomba, not a Koopa. Koopas are the ones in the shells.
No, he's right, I know.
Gosh,
that's
you
embarrassing.
fake gamer girl, what the heck are you doing?
Gamer. I don't really play Nintendo or penis.
Oh, by the way, Allison, it's been May, June, July, August. It's been 3 months for East of West.
Oh, wow.
That's long.
Yeah.
Not as long as it feels. Is Scott messaging you?
Yes, he's like, you made me sound like a dick. No, we know you're trying to be helpful. And you are right. Like, you're completely right. And also, we got that it was a joke. That's why we laughed at the idea that she's a fake gamer or a fake geek, because obviously none of us are.
Yeah. Well, and everybody makes these. I was on a podcast yesterday, the Hangout Outcast, and the guy doing the show wanted to talk about how Harley Quinn was with Deadpool.
And you were like, that was never a comic.
I don't know if at one point she had a thing with Deadshot or Deathlock.
No, she did with Deadshot.
Okay, that's
probably maybe that's
then.
People on the internet do ship her with Deadpool because those characters would, like, they have a lot
They would
of
be great
similarities.
together. Yeah.
Totally.
I don't know, I feel like it would be so annoying
no.
I'd want to kill myself, but it's because I can handle one of them or the other, not both.
Right. Well, and that's
that
actually probably why they shouldn't date. It'd be too much for both of them. They'd be like, what? I'm the center of attention. Why are you?
It would be explosive and short-lived, but I would love to see that.
It would just be pages of puns. Over and over.
Just like a one-shot.
Yeah. So what, you like, they were like Harley Quinn's with Deadpool, and you were like, guys?
I just kind of let it go, because I did not know who she had been with previously. But I knew it wasn't Deadpool. I knew it was somebody in the Suicide Squad general vicinity. I just let it go, because, these things happen.
You're magnanimous.
Yeah.
So what are you what's coming out that you're looking forward to, otherwise?
The new Carol Core is going to come out, and that looks really good. Which will mean I will have to catch up on numbers 1 and 2 in order to read number 3, because I'm behind on some things right now. I'm writing a book. It's taking up some time. And Lumberjanes is going to be out this week as well. So that'll be really good. That one I haven't fallen. Actually, I went to San Diego Comic-Con for the first time this year, and it was really cool and exciting, but I did not give any shits at all about any of the exclusives except for the Lumberjanes badge. So that was my big purchase.
Swiggity swag.
Hmm?
I just said swiggity swag. You could have ignored
Oh.
me.
No, it was better this way. I made you repeat it.
And now I feel like an ass.
Sorry. I mean,
Thanks for coming on the show, Katie.
Yeah, wow. That's what I do.
Well then, are there any other things that you want to let the viewers know about, either about the Kickstarter or do you want to repeat the bit about the Comicosity exclusive for?
Yeah. There's a Comicosity exclusive postcard featuring the art by Marguerite Sauvage, and it is just a gorgeous piece. And it actually, do you think she looks a little bit like Keira Knightley?
Yes.
Yeah, I like it.
I-
So that's an exclusive postcard if you put in code Comicosity when you pledge, or if you've already pledged, you can just let me know and I'll send you the postcard. So, and if you want to know anything else about the book, all of our Kickstarter, our social media, everything is collected on strangewit.com. So, a one-stop shop for everything you've wanted.
Excellent. And again, we will put all of those details up on the YouTube description for the edited version of the show and on the Comicosity article page. So if you need to come back and look at it, all of that will be there. Well, thank you so much for talking to us, Katie. It's been lovely having you.
This was really cool. Thank you.
Yay! Well, we've known you for a long time. Katie's a con buddy. Are you coming to SPX?
I'm trying to, yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully I'll see you in Bethesda.
Yeah.
Karen, anything else from you?
No, I'll be at SPX though because it's super local. I work like
literally an hour away.
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes, and I'm there. So.
So like we were neighbors for years, and I lived in Rockville.
Yeah, I've been in like Arlington Falls Church-ish forever, and
I'm in the Fairfax.
Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm in the Fairfax area.
Well, we used to run into you at Baltimore all the time.
Yeah.
Which I'll be at Baltimore too, and will you as well, Karen?
Yeah, I'll be crashing on your floor. Thanks.
See, you did it on the air. Like, now I can't say no.
You offered, so don't pretend
true.
like you don't remember that.
It's true. You always crash on our floor. It's tradition at this point.
It is. With my blow-up mattress.
I just basically forgot to do anything related to Baltimore until like 2 weeks ago and was like, oh shit, maybe I should like... It was while I was on my work trip. I was like in a meeting, like booking my tickets in my hotel.
Yeah, I still haven't bought my tickets yet. I should probably get on that. I'll do that.
So I was like, oops, I missed the press deadline.
Yeah. Oh, well.
So we will miss seeing you at Baltimore, Katie. You were a fixture there for us at one point.
Yeah.
But I saw you in Seattle, and...
I wasn't at Seattle.
Wait, which one did I just see you at then? Were you at Heroes?
No, I don't think you did see me.
Then I haven't seen you this year. When's the last time I saw you?
I think you were in Baltimore, honestly.
Oh, wow.
You didn't do C2E2, right?
No, because I had to choose between Emerald City and C2E2, and I chose Emerald City.
I was supposed to go to Emerald City, and then my flight got canceled twice.
That's what I'm probably thinking of, because I remember you were supposed to be there.
Yeah. Oh, well. 1 month. We'll hang out. Awesome.
Good times. Well, and Jessica yelled at me for not remembering to do this last time, so I'm going to try to remember to do this right this time. Make sure you check out Comicosity.com. They host us here on the Hangout, as well as news, reviews, interviews, and previews. It's just comics all the time. And also make sure you check out the different columns by all of our different writers. And I'm forgetting the names of like all of them now. Jessica has a new Heroes column up with an interview with Margaret Scott, who was one of our recent guests, about her book Toil and Trouble.
Kelly did an interview with me earlier this week.
And Comicosity also has, did we do are there two separate interviews on the site?
No, there's one interview and one you guys compiled a list of Kickstarters that you thought were cool, and Strange Wit made it on there. I feel Comicosity love.
so
See,
much.
our whole team loves you. So go and check out more stuff about Strange Wit on the site. Also, thank you as always to Victory Comics for keeping me in comics in Falls Church, Virginia. Make sure you check them out. And until next week, when we'll be sitting down with Christopher Sabella, take care of yourselves, read comics, have fun. Bye.
Bye.